This WBTV high-definition program is sponsored by Time Warner Cable. WBTV News at 6 starts right now.
To help build this team, get it to a Super Bowl caliber team, win.
A new big cat in town, Ron Rivera named head coach of the Carolina Panthers.
Plus, slipping, sliding, going off the road. The snow freezes and schools are already calling it off for tomorrow.
And how to handle $100 million in cuts. CMS puts it in writing, and it isn't very pretty. Good evening. Welcome, everyone. I'm Paul Cameron.
And I'm Maureen O'Boyle. We've got a lot to get to tonight. We begin at Bank of America Stadium, where Ron Rivera has, within the hour, just been named head coach of the Carolina Panthers. Rivera takes over for John Fox, whose contract was not renewed at the end of the season. He becomes the second Latino coach in NFL history. Rivera has been with the San Diego Chargers since 2007, first as a linebackers coach, then as defensive coordinator. He played for the Bears from 1984 to 1992 and was on their Super Bowl winning team. Rivera is 49 years old. Our Nicole Darren is live at the stadium, and she will have more on this big news and the future of the franchise coming up in sports. Paul?
Well, this is why a lot of offices and businesses were closed their doors today. The driver of this car on his way to work this afternoon, when he slid off John Price Road and right into the woods. That's off South Tryon Street, by the way. He wasn't hurt, but the side roads are just a mess tonight, and they are dangerous. The snow has stopped, but the cold temperatures certainly have not. Our chief meteorologist, Eric Thomas, in the First Alert Weather Center. And Eric, it looks like another frigid night.
Paul, it looks like another frigid night. You know, the question everybody's tempted to ask is, so is this stuff going to refreeze? Well, no, the better question is, when is this going to become unfrozen? Because we haven't been above freezing for 2 days now, and we're only going to get colder than that, at least for the overnight hours. And so your headlines look like this. The winter storm warning continues for our mountain counties. That's for the next 2 days, my friends, with more snow moving back into that area. For everybody else outside of the mountains, it's a winter weather advisory for, again, the threat for the refreezing on the icy roads. And then, of course, beyond that, the Arctic air coming in. So this is just going to be, although no real additional accumulation, still going to be real problematic. Again, the winter storm warning in the mountains. There, as said, the winter weather advisory, which should expire tomorrow at noon. We'll see if they reissue that again for tomorrow night. And then, of course, you see why they're worried about snow up in the mountains. There is plenty coming their way. In the meantime, hour-by-hour forecast, still below freezing. As said, at 7 o'clock this evening, 31, 30 by 9, and 29 at 11. And really, I mean, really going down from there overnight tonight. It is going to get colder and colder, much colder than it was last night. That's the way it is now. The rest of that First Alert forecast coming up shortly.
And, Eric, the list of school closings is growing by the minute. Charlotte-Mecklenburg Schools just called it off for tomorrow. Gaston County Schools, Lincoln County, Cabarrus County, Caldwell, Catawba, Burke, Union Counties, Hickory City, Mooresville, and Iredell-Statesville already closed for tomorrow. Complete list scrolling at the bottom of your screen. You can also find it online on our homepage at WBTV.com.
Most airlines operating on a limited schedule right now. At one point today, U.S. Airways wasn't even flying into Charlotte. We're on your side with team coverage of this winter weather. Steve Crump talking to local businesses who've had to shut down, and Melissa Hankins looking at the rising cost of heating oil. We're going to check in with them in just a moment. Paul?
Well, right now, we are just learning about how Charlotte-Mecklenburg school leaders plan to handle more than $100 million in cuts. It's going to take 1,500 layoffs, the elimination of teacher assistants, larger classes, and the end of the children's pre-K program called Bright Beginnings. WBTV's education reporter Dedrick Russell was in the room when the proverbial axe fell. Dedrick, everyone knew these cuts would be drastic, but a bit shocking to see them all written down on paper.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Paul. In fact, Coach Joe White said that when he saw this budget, he says that his heart burned. You know, some board members are having a hard time coping with the idea that programs that have been around for years and years could one day be no more. Let's take you inside the government chamber. Let's give you the highlights. As you said, that Gorman proposed more than 1,500 positions gone. He also made this announcement that he is suggesting that middle school sports be no more. He says no more fundraising to keep keep it going. Also, he says that elementary school students could go to school about an hour longer, so school buses could handle more routes. That could save the district more money. Also, there could be a reduction in resources that go to financially disadvantaged students to help them achieve academically. But the toughest pill to swallow tonight is there could be the elimination of the popular Bright Beginnings pre-K program that serves at-risk students.
It is essential, actually, to the success of our population to take care of the Bright Beginnings population. I just cannot continue to cut K-12 education to do it, and I am sorry, and it's very painful for me to say that.
Yeah, in fact, school board member Rhonda Linden, she says it was so painful that she is willing to do something, that she wants to work with the community to try to fundraise, to try to raise the necessary money to fully fund the Bright Beginnings program. Now, I really want to emphasize that this is just a proposal. This is not a done deal. School board members still have much more discussion to do in order to finalize their budget, but some decisions could happen this month, and so that's why they're asking for more community support, Paul, and those workshops are coming. Our first one is scheduled next month. We're live at the Government Center. Dedrick Russell, WBTV, on your side.
Painful cuts, no doubt about it. Dedrick Russell, thank you.
Thanks to ice and snow, CMS closed today and will be closed again tomorrow. The city was closed as well today. UNC Charlotte, even Mecklenburg County's ABC stores shut down. But in the long list of closings, thousands of them were area small businesses where the dollars from every day add up. WBTV's Steve Crump is live on North Tryon Street, Uptown. Steve, lots of sorry we're closed signs, and that's an expensive sign to hang in the window.
That it is, Maureen, and you talk about a place that is so full of life, that is so vibrant in many ways when you talk about Center City, Charlotte. But we were out here a good part of the day, and there were a lot of empty streets, which basically made Uptown a ghost town. Tallying up red ink relating to white and frozen stuff on the ground can be hard to calculate. Along Tryon Street are just a fraction of people who normally hit the pavement during the busy noon hour.
So more than half the people couldn't show up today.
Sudeep Vyas took a chance today by opening the family business. Some of the machines are humming at Reach Graphics, but by most standards, it's a very slow and quiet day.
A lot of our machines are not on right now, which you can usually hear that roar.
He's not alone, because silence is one of the predictable sounds when workers in big numbers stay away from the heart of the city. One distinguishable sound that's hard to come by is the sizzle of a hot grill. Workers at 1010 Box are hoping that opening on Tuesday will help make up for some of the losses from the day before.
We have to make some money, you know. Closed yesterday.
Not just restaurants, but also some of Charlotte's biggest banks. And many of the branches were also closed. We found a taxi operator by the name of Harry, hoping to do the driving for someone else.
I can't sit out every day. I need some money, so I'm out here today. I'd like to take another day off, but I got to work.
Back at the print shop, Sudeep is looking for a sign or a sound.
Every 30 seconds we get a phone call, and there's been maybe 3 or 4 all day today.
Yeah, and he's hoping that things will quite obviously pick up tomorrow. But I tell you what, we talked to the operator of one restaurant, and a predicament that some of these folks are in. The fact of the matter is that they're still holding on to cash since Friday's day receipts. And the reason for that is because a lot of these branch banks in Center City and elsewhere have closed. And what that means is there's no personal service, there's no teller that they can go up and deal with. So quite obviously, in many respects, some of these businesses are between a rock and a hard place. Live tonight from Center City, Steve Crump, WBTV, on your side.
Yeah, very rare for banks to be shut for 3 days in a row. Steve, thank you. Paul?
All right, well, if you were uptown like me this morning, you may have seen this. Large sheets of ice falling all the way off the Duke Energy Tower today. It's 800 feet. That caused police to rope off the streets around the building. Some of the falling pieces were about a foot long. The good news is they closed it off before anybody got hit. Ice falling from the sky, ice on the roads. In Salisbury, Main Street was clear, but the side streets, look at that. They were slick, slick, slick as crews struggled to hit all those frozen spots.
The road that I live on was actually solid ice, and I had to be very careful coming in.
course, more cold weather means more ice overnight. WBTV News This Morning will begin early this morning, 4:30 a.m. to get your day started. Besides scrolling our closings on the screen, you can also find closings by going to WBTV.com and click on the link on the homepage.
Next at 6 o'clock, he allegedly led police on a wild and dangerous chase, but you won't be shocked to hear this guy's been in trouble before. Molly?
Maureen, I'll have all the news for you.